How you doing, everybody? It's Wardy here, and we're breaking down the latest in Mets land, and we're getting into our annual Top 5 Mets trade targets video that we do each and every offseason. And the last time we did this video right around the trade deadline, some of the players I discussed actually landed with the Mets, most notably Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker landing with the Mets was something that I called a while before it happened. That was really cool to see it actually transpire. Now let's see if any of the guys that we talk about today find themselves landing with the Mets because of one or multiple reasons based on current reporting or based on putting two and two together as to why these guys make a lot of sense for David Stearns and co. to go out and try to pursue this offseason. So without further ado, everybody, make sure to smash a like and subscribe on as you get in. Sit back, relax, and let Wardy lead the way here as we break down these 5 players. And let's kickstart things here in our amazing segment presented by BetUS, but a little bit more on the sports book here later, folks. Let's talk about a man that many of you guys know very well during his current time with the Miami Marlins, who's been long connected to the Mets at least the past 2.5 years, and that is veteran Southpaw. It's kind of crazy to say veteran, yet he is now a veteran in the game. He's been in the game for a couple of years now. And Jesus Luzardo, still at the young age of 27, coming off of a down year this past season in Miami, mainly due to injury, which is why he had that inflated 5-year ERA, but a more respectable just over 4-year ERA on the expected ERA front, where you know what you're getting out of your pitcher there. And this is a Jesus Luzardo that, let's not forget, is a man that came, again, guns a-blazing pretty much right away, traded for Starling Marte 1-for-1, going to Oakland. Luzardo goes from the A's to Miami, and he pitches north of 200 innings last season that we saw, putting up very respectable numbers, one healthy, one right, a devastating fastball up and in, especially if you're going lefty-lefty, or, up and in there, or lefty-righty, I should say. A fastball touching 99, a slide piece, and a changeup that's brilliant when it is right. He needs to work on not only commanding the zone well, because the walk rates haven't been an issue, as it's been more so with Jesus Luzardo, just making sure that he's having his pinpoint accuracy and not throwing meatballs down the pipe. He needed to certainly have some adjustments this past season for a Miami Marlins team that unfortunately wasn't going anywhere right from the start that they announced before the season even began after their tremendous playoff run there in 2023. No less, Jesus Luzardo is destined to do great things for whatever team is going to have the luxury of acquiring him. And the Mets, after denying a trade for Luzardo's services 2 off seasons ago, in which they would have had to give up Brett Beatty, I think every Mets fan and their mother, including myself, would have done that trade in hindsight. Billy Epler said no. David Stearns, however, would certainly say yes. Let's see that connection between the two rivals in-house, even though it's a lopsided rivalry right now. We'll factor into anything, or if the Mets can get the job done for a young, crafty southpaw that fits the both short and long-term bill, which is something that David Stearns is going to have a heavy point of emphasis with when evaluating young starting pitching talent, looking to acquire said players in the trade market. So that's everything that you guys need to know there on Jesus Luzardo. So now let's get into our next player here that we're going to have as our number 4 pick, and this time we're talking on the reliever front. Yes, folks, let's talk about the man that's inevitably leaving Milwaukee at some point this year. The man who was absolutely rocked by Pete Alonso for the first time in his career, gave up an opposite field home run to a right-handed hitter there in Alonso, was Mr. Devin Williams. Devin Williams, just a year or so removed after breaking his hand out of frustration and missing an extensive period of time with the Brewers this past season in 22 games and 21.2 innings, coming back from said injury, posted a nasty 1.25 ERA, a 2 expected ERA, a 2.31 SI ERA. One of the better relievers in all the National League, still has so much to give as Devin Williams, and knowing that the Milwaukee Brewers are not going to be bringing him back after this upcoming season, his final year of arbitration, this is a Devin Williams that's inevitably going to be dealt sooner rather than later, folks. That felt like the writing on the wall, just like was the case with Corbin Burns a year or so ago, just like Josh Hader under David Stearns' Ram Brewers at the time a couple of years ago around the deadline. That was a blockbuster then, and Devin Williams has a chance to be a big piece dealt to any team here in the National League or American League before the 2025 season officially begins. And as we talk more here on Devin Williams and what exactly you're getting, folks, you're getting a man that has an unhittable fastball, as my man Isaac Groffman, our fantastic pitching contributor on the platform. Check him out on X at Isaac Groffman on X, where he does fantastic pitcher analysis, and not only the Mets, but MLB-wide coverage as well. And Isaac spoke notably on his, again, pretty much unhittable fastball, unless you're sitting on one or sitting on a breaking pitch because you knew it was coming right away. And one polar bear Pete Alonso, the changeup combo is absolutely deadly as well. The fastball changeup punch is one of the best 1-2 punches among relievers in all the National League, and he has the opportunity to come into Queens here for the Mets and a David Stearns ran Mets club that knows Devin Williams better than any other opposing GM or President Baseball operations not actively involved in the Milwaukee Brewers organization organization, can slot in beautifully as the setup man to Edwin Diaz, and if Edwin Diaz is shaky with his closer outings, then you could defer to Devin Williams with that nasty fastball and change up that beautiful 1-2 punch to get the job done for this Mets team, because Jose Butto was brilliant throughout the regular season as a setup man, but he fell short and then some in high leverage when the Mets need him most in postseason play. Knowing that you have a lot of uncertainty in this bullpen, you want to add some certainty. A 30-year-old right in the prime of his career, a man that David Stearns knows oh so well and exactly what you're getting, and what this Mets pitching lab can certainly provide for one Devin Williams, gets me very excited at the prospect of landing said player. Are you going to have to give up some key assets? Yes, but is he going to cost you as much of an arm and a leg as some other guys later on in this video? No, he's not. So for all those reasons and then some, David Stearns, go out and get your former guy, make him your guy again there, and Devin Williams. Let me know your reactions in the comments down below, everybody. Devin Williams is the number 4 player on our list in today's discussion. And before we break down picks 3, 2, and 1, let's take a quick word to talk about our amazing sponsor that you guys and gals know all very well at Yes BetUS, that has you covered all your sports betting needs. Head over to betus.com.pa today, folks. That way you too can get involved on the action by using Wardy's promo code YouTube150. That way you too get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, $125 on your second, and your third up to $2,000 for whatever your sports betting needs might be. And I'm hammering a lot of fights. We got UFC 309 this Saturday at Madison Square Garden. Friday night, tomorrow at the time I record this, we got Jake Paul versus, yes, Mike Tyson. I've always wanted to bet on a Mike Tyson fight in my lifetime. Now I finally have the opportunity to do so. I'm doing a 4-leg parlay, taking Mike Tyson outright on the money line to beat Jake Paul, fingers crossed, at plus 170. Please do it, Mike. We're all begging. Bo Nickel there at minus 1200 there as a heavy favorite in his fight on the main card of UFC 309. Charles Oliveira minus 260, money line favorite against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is a very respectable fighter, but Charles Oliveira is a spider monkey. I think he's going to absolutely win that fight. And John Bones Jones, that you either love or hate, no in between, as the heavy favorite there for the heavyweight championship matchup against Mr. Stipe Miocic. I fully expect that to go in John Jones' favor. So that's going to be a 4-leg parlay that I'm putting $50 down to win me roughly 184. So that's a big turnout. Hopefully we come out victorious in the end, folks. If we do, it's going to be thanks to our great friends at BetUS. Feel free to tail these bets. Please know I'm not a betting expert. However, what I am is certainly a diehard sports fan that loves to play their daily bets here at BetUS. So get involved, folks, for all your sports betting needs. And now let's hop back into this one. Let's talk about a player that I guarantee pretty much no one had in today's discussion initially heading into this one. And this is current Tampa Bay's reliever turned starter. And yes, Zach Littell. All right, let's talk about Zach Littell. After him carving up the Mets that you guys can see right here with 7 strikeouts in Tampa Bay, I believe back in May when that was such a frustrating series for the Mets. Jose Quintana got rocked, and still we saw Brett Beatty have home runs galore. The Mets still rallied and fell short in that game and in that series overall. Zach Littell, though, again, transferring from a reliever to more of a starter role this past season for the Rays worked out brilliantly. In 29 games and roughly 160 innings, a 3.63 ERA, a 4.31 expected ERA, a sub-4 SI ERA. What I love so much about a guy like Zach Littell is that, one, the K-to-walk ratio is gorgeous. He was looking beautiful there that we saw in the K per nine this past season, and the walks not even 2, right around 1.5. He's fantastic on commanding the strike zone, just like as he's been with a reliever. As a reliever in recent years, and we're just not going to talk about Gabe Kapler during his time there in San Francisco, as they had choice words as he was pulled from a game because of Gabe Kapler. We all remember that story there in San Francisco. Fast forward a couple years later, he's really redefined himself in a very Tampa Bay Rays-esque fashion, and now is looking like a guy that could be a perfect Swiss Army knife of an innings eater. A Trevor Williams-esque type pickup is what I could see the Mets doing here, where they do not need to give up an arm and a leg for someone like this there in Zach Littell, however you pronounce his last name, and exactly what you're getting. And as my pitching contributor Isaac Groppin beautifully notes here on the following, he has a solid 3-pitch mix, headlined by that tight gyro slider he has always had, a splitter he added a few years ago as best whip pitch there, and the four-seam fastball, which is below average on the velocity, but solid with the life. Overall, a nice 3-pitch mix that has induced a lot of soft ground out contact and a lot of fantastic zone management, making sure that he's not walking anyone their mother, which was certainly an issue for the Mets at times times throughout the course of this past season. So no less Zach Littell, everybody, one of many guys that we would certainly be in favor of impacting this Mets rotation slash bullpen. And again, you can never have enough arms, and knowing how much the Mets need arms and are going to look for some craftier options in the trade market, that is what makes someone like Zach, in my opinion, very appealing for this New York Metropolitan team. Let me know in the comments down below, everybody, are you for or against a potential pursuit here of Zach Littell, however you pronounce the last name again. So now let's get on to the final two, and they go directly in hand with the guys that you saw in the thumbnail, so don't be shocked that we're now talking about a man that I've been wanting pretty much since I started the channel 3.5 years ago, and that is Mr. Luis Castillo. Castillo now going from the Cincinnati Reds to the Seattle Mariners the past couple years, inking a 5-year, over $100 million contract, still with 3 years left at $72 million or so. Certainly a contract that a guy in Steve Cohen could eat beautifully for an ace caliber starter here at Castillo. And yes, there is, again, slight pessimism with Castillo on the little decline. His K per 9 this past season was down by a full strikeout per 9 from a 10K per 9 the past couple years to now a 9K per 9, but his walks per 9 still sitting around 2.5. We're getting a lot of brilliant baseball still from Luis Castillo, and a guy that we know that Seattle Mariners wouldn't mind shipping off for more MLB ready talent there, or guys that can certainly help impact the farm, knowing that they can take the salary off the books for a team that has to penny pinch each and every year. They have endless in-house talent for their rotation, so Castillo honestly is a luxury for them and is not necessarily a necessity the way that it would be for the Mets in their rotation to pair along with Kodai Senga, among others. Castillo's coming off of a very respectable campaign in 2024, 30 games, roughly 180 innings, 3.64 ERA, a 3.94 expected ERA, a 3.79 SI ERA. When you get Luis Castillo, you're getting yourself a certainly dominant pitcher, one that could come in and slot into this Mets rotation right away as either their 1A or their 1B when looking at ace caliber starters there to pair with one Kodai Senga. And what you get with Castillo there is just a fastball that's still one of the best in the game, especially up. It is so devastating for those hitters, whether you're a lefty or a righty there. Then you mix in that off-speed and breaking pitches that you're going to have there with one Luis Castillo. Again, when he is right there too, we love how much that breaking ball and that gyro slider can certainly do its thing. But when it comes to Luis Castillo, is he a slam dunk to be traded this offseason? No, but if the Mariners are going to prioritize shedding some payroll and getting some quality assets in return, the Mets have a second base option right away, and Jeff McNeil that they can part ways with, I think, the majority of his contract with. The Mets also have MLB ready talent that they can part with right now that are not going to hurt their short and long-term vision the way that Castillo would automatically positively impact their short and long-term plans. By adding a true man who has gotten Cy Young votes in recent years that we know, a guy that has dominated in both the American League and National League, this is a Castillo who would do wonders, in my opinion, for this Mets rotation at the right price. And while you're going to have to give up some key assets to land him, shouldn't cost you everything and your mother, the way that the man that we're about to talk about may certainly be the exact case exactly for. And that is none other than, yes, again, it should come as a surprise, absolutely nobody, the man that the Mets have been actively connected to and are actively pursuing via trade this offseason, as we've talked about over the past week or so on the channel. That is going to be the dominant southpaw himself, and Garrett Crochet. He's just disgusting. Everything about Garrett Crochet is a human highlight reel, and coming off of Tommy John surgery entering the 2024 season, Crochet put up highlight reel numbers, getting himself Cy Young Award votes for rightfully so for a guy that, again, if it wasn't for the innings limit throughout the course of this season and really getting the full workload, this is a guy that easily could have found himself as a Cy Young Award winner when right. A 3.58 ERA, a 2.83 expected ERA, a 2.53 SI ERA. The expected numbers just get more and more gorgeous when you have a devastating fastball that tunnels. That, again, it comes in between 95 to 100, but even sitting at 98, it's going to look 101, 102 to the opposing hitters because that massive 6'6" frame and extension, that tunneling cutter there that we mentioned plenty on the channel that sits low to mid-90s is very deceptive as well. Then you throw in the slider there like it's nothing. It just is simply unhittable. This is like Jacob deGrom type treatment when you're going up with that 100-mile-per-hour fastball and then that slider where you're like, how did that just happen? Yes, that just did. And Garrett Crochet, look at the mechanics, look at the arm, look at the youth behind him. This is why you're giving up an arm arm and a leg for someone like him, because even with him coming off of Tommy John surgery, entering the 2024 season, he stayed relatively healthy. Even on a innings limit, I foresee someone in Crochet to hopefully not have too many overbearing concerns on the health front the upcoming years, knocking on wood, because nothing about his mechanics really suggests that, okay, he's using way too much of this aspect of his body, that there isn't proper weight distribution that goes in hand with his velocity. This is not like a Spencer Strider where in your 6'6" frame, you're so reliant on those big legs and allow your mechanics there for that velocity, which puts a lot of extra stress on that elbow and that arm. And Garrett Crochet's sake, he has a frame, he has the extension, and he has the proper mechanics. Now it's about just continuing to stay healthy as a reliever turned starter who would do wonders as the Mets' #1 star in this rotation, when looking at pure stuff right away to pair along with Kodai Senga, David Pearson, and everyone else in company that the Mets fully intend to land this offseason. Mets fans, are you for or against going after the dominant, young, again, a guy who can fit the short and long-term bill better than most here in Garrett Crochet? Let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. And thank you all so much again for watching, folks. That is going to conclude our segment here of top 5 Mets trade targets. Yes, they were all pitchers, but in my defense, the Mets need a lot of pitching help this offseason. And while I expect them to address a lot of these areas in the free agent market, should those things fall through for whatever reason they may be, the trade market will be there. David Stearns was nipping out of the heels plenty for the trade market for starting pitching last offseason and really didn't get anything that he was hoping for at the right price. They landed Paul Blackburn at the traded line, and return, he sadly had himself a spinal fluid leak that ended his season prematurely. Blackburn's still a question mark heading into the season. A lot of question marks arise for this Mets rotation. All the more reason why we can see them dabbling not only the free agent, but trade market as well. Thank you guys again for watching. Let us know your thoughts down below, and make sure you chime in for more consistent content, all things Mets, all offseason long here on the platform. Thank you guys as always, and as always, no matter what, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out, folks.